What's up, everyone? It's Home Cup Junior, owner of the Home Cup series, here to do just a podcast, a recap of the season so far. I'm here with current driver of the 17, Valasuki. He told me to say that. He said he paid me if I said that.
Oh yeah, is that
So we're
what I
here to do
said?
just a quick recap. We're here to do a quick recap of the season. We're 6 races into this Young Home Cup season. Even though this season hasn't been as chaotic as previous seasons, it definitely is the most competitive, with 6 different winners in 6 different races. We're here to recap the 6 races. Starting off at Daytona, the season started off. Mike DRE winning in JRM equipment at the Daytona 500 career. Ben Elwood at Las Vegas got his first career win in a photo finish with Chase Horn. Race 3, we got the Rockingham. Proved that Alex Burnout is not washed. He won that race in convincing fashion. Then we had New Hampshire, 4th race of the season. We had points leader Sawyer Price win that race. And it's just been an amazing season for him, having had top 15s in every race so far. Then we head to the crown jewel of Home Cup, NOLA Motorsports Park, where season staple Cory Johnson got the biggest win of his career, conquering NOLA. And then our most recent race had almost a dominating race, had one of their cars crash out, and it gave him a 1-2-3 finish with J.J. Moore conquering the desert. Speaking of the wreck at Phoenix, Vlad Valasuki, driver of the 17, he was in it, and maybe want to hear his perspective from the wreck.
Yeah, it was definitely a tough race for us here at RFK. I thought we had some speed heading into the race weekend. We qualified, I believe it's like 10th and 20th, and obviously still work to do. We've cycled through a couple drivers in that 6 car, trying to find the right one. We landed on Kevin because we think that Kevin's a guy who can be consistent for us. But yeah, speaking of this wreck in Phoenix, just trying to make my way up on the field. I was stuck on the outside on a restart from a previous caution, and it's tough when you're up there because when you head into turn, I believe it's even turn 1 now, and you head into that dog leg, it's tough because at the angle which you need to turn, it's like you're heading straight down onto that flat area, and they wrecked in front of us. They were like 3 wide or something like that.
Some guys get 4 wide.
What was that?
Four wide.
Four wide. And we tried to head down into that corner, and they wrecked in front of me. I had nowhere to go. If you turn left down, you're going to hit somebody, and if you slam on your brakes, you're going to hit somebody. It's a lose-lose situation, and it was a really tough race, and that kind of brings us into the point standings a little bit. I want to speak on who the points leaders are right now, who's in the lead, who's kind of fell off a little bit. And right now, what you mentioned, Sawyer Price, he is the leader right now after Phoenix. He's at 944. Like you said, he hasn't had a race outside of the top 10, outside the top 15, and his finishes so far this season are 3, 3, 7. He wins in round 4. He has a 6th place in NOLA, and then he finishes 11th here in Phoenix. Nothing to scoff at, though. I mean, he's been the class of the field right now. Behind him is Cory Johnson, who also has a race win to his name, like you mentioned, that crown jewel in NOLA. Behind him is Slim Michael Royce in the 67 car. Team owner James Ashbourne has been really happy with what he's been doing. He only has 1 race outside of the top 10 as well, but that was a P16 at the Rock. And then you have J.J. Moore, who is sitting 4th right now in points. And our most recent winner at Phoenix, like you mentioned, SHR brought their A game. Behind him, you have Ben Elwood, who won at Las Vegas, 2nd race of the season in that photo finish. He currently sits at 798 points, and he is plus 83 of the cut line. He's in really good shape right now, but he has had a couple of, it's not struggling. He hasn't wrecked out, but he ever since he switched over to Toyota, he's had a little bit of struggle with that package and finding his car with a 16 and then another 16 at NOLA and then a 22nd at Phoenix. You can definitely see he's falling a little bit. That brings us to our season 6 champion, which is Sammy Dimick, also the cover athlete for Home Cup 24. Get it in any store you can. And he, he's also been hit or miss. He had a wreck at Rockingham, but a P4 at Phoenix. He's starting to bring it back around. He was the top FRM car who won the team championship last season. And then there's Chase Horn, the team owner of FRM. He's had some really quality runs, a fourth and a second to start the season in Daytona and Vegas. And, he's sort of, fell off a little bit here now, but, he's definitely not had luck go his way. The next two is Kyle, and then we've got James Ashbourne. Both of them have been started getting into a groove now. Kyle had a wreck at NOLA. And then that gets us into Sean, who was the cap on that SHR 1-2-3 finish. Sean's kind of struggled earlier this season. He had a 25th at Daytona. He had a 19th at Vegas. And then he wrecked out, I believe, in New Orleans with a 31st finish. Then we get to Gavin Borski, who is sitting 11th in points right now. He is plus 21 of the cut line, but he was actually outside of the points earlier this season, and he has clawed his way back. He had a wreck at Rockingham, and he had another wreck at NOLA, a disastrous race weekend for him. I believe he ran off the track 2 to 3 times, and he just has to get back into a groove. He's got a fast qualifying car. He's been on the front row multiple times this year. And then that brings us to the guy who is teetering the line. And you mentioned, is he washed yet? We don't know. Your Season 1 champion, Alex Burnout. He is currently plus 1 of the cut line, and he is barely holding on. And he's a guy who's consistently been top 20. And he had a little struggle earlier this season, but he is sitting right now P12 plus 1 of the cut line. And then P13, the guy who's minus 1, is Matt Sheridan. And Sheridan is sitting P7 finished P7 at Phoenix, his home track, trying to put it together. And then the last guy I'm going to talk about for this, as I'll turn it back over to my co-host here, that is DRE. And I want to talk a little bit about how his season started and how his season is going right now. Daytona 500 winner, Mike DRE, a great accomplishment for JRM. Team owner Cory was pumped about that, and we'll get to hear from him later today. And just a guy who has not found the consistency. A 33rd place finish at Las Vegas, followed by a P15, P11, P13, and then a wreck out at Phoenix, and the wreck I was involved in. Just speak a little bit about the struggles of DRE later on now for me, Jose.
Yeah, it is shocking with how aggressive DRE has driven the season. It's a shame he, like you said, he hasn't had a top 10 finish since the 500. So, obviously they're in a little bit of a rut now. They see their sister team, Cory Johnson, win arguably the biggest race of the Home Cup season. So, they're obviously in a little slump. They have been caught up in accidents that aren't necessarily their faults, but, hopefully they can pick it up. And like you said, we were going to talk to Cory Johnson, owner of JRM, later today. But yeah, no, it has been a struggle. Hopefully they can pick it up. Bristol has been a notoriously good track for DRE, so let's hope he can pick it up.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that he is a capable driver. I was fortunate to be a team owner of him, I believe back in season 4, back when he raced the 45 PSSR car for me. And, he's a very talented driver. You see slumps like this. You see slumps like this a lot, and, there's no doubt he can get out of it. He's not in a dire point situation, and I could definitely see DRE as somebody bouncing back and, a chance to win a couple more cars this season. There's an argument to be made that JRM is the top Chevy team right now. I don't even really think that's an argument. I think that's a proven fact right now. With the way that Cory's been running and, with the talent we know that DRE has, it's really been Ford. There's been a lot of Ford, obviously Sawyer leading in the Penske, SHR, FRM, it's been Ford dominance, really, and then the Toyotas with Ashbourne and with Slim, and then you got your Chevys, which is Cory, and, you could put Alex Burnout in there with his ride at Spire, but after that, it's really just JRM, and they've been able to put together a really good program.
Yeah, Ford really has been the cream of the crop this season, and perhaps the last 2 seasons. Those guys just get it together. They obviously have more communication than the other manufacturers. I want to really talk about Toyota and, not necessarily their struggle, but the main team, Joe Gibbs Racing. Their highest driver is Ben Elwood, but he hasn't been in the 54
Yeah, that's right.
or with a legacy. In Legacy and just recently switched over to the 54. So in points, he is the highest Joe Gibbs car, but realistically, who's been there the whole season, it's been Gavin Borski. He's had a couple tough runs, a disastrous NOLA Motorsports Park race where he was kind of bullied around, and you really hate to see it. But he is definitely determined. He is Home Cup's rocket man. He with I think 2 or 3 poles this season. And I think 13 or 14 in his career. He's only been here for 2 seasons. So, I mean, hopefully he can pick it up because he is a notoriously fast driver on a 1-lap qualifying run, but just makes too many enemies out there on the track. And he does get bullied around, unfortunately. But knowing him, he's going to persist through it.
Yeah, that's right. And that is all we have for our section of the podcast. We will now turn it over to our guest segment where we are going to be talking to an uncrowned Home Cup champion, Season 5 unofficial champion, but that does not take anything away from him. It's Cory Johnson, the owner of JRM. We will speak to him in just a second. Now introducing our guest segment speaker, we have Jose.
All right, so we're here to introduce 8-time Home Cup winner, most popular Home Cup driver, and owner of JRM, driver of the 25, Cory Johnson.
Let's bring him in.
Let's bring him in.
Cory, how you doing, man?
Are we live?
We are live. What's going on, Cory?
I was about to say a whole bunch of slurs. This is my fault. I was about to. Jose knows how I get. Jose knows.
Here's Home Cup most popular driver, owner of JRM, obviously. So, Cory, real quick, you just came off winning at NOLA, the crown jewel of Home Cup. And you, as a team owner, also won the Daytona 500. So you can say that you've won two of the biggest races in Home Cup, How does it make you feel, dog? You've accomplished a lot in just only 6 races.
Oh, so we're just jumping right into it. Okay. It feels good. It feels nice. The fact, I was not expecting to win the Daytona 500 at all. We made progress last season off rip. And actually, I feel like we made a lot more progress last year than this year so far because I wasn't expecting to go out and have both cars win races last year and then follow that up by winning the 2 biggest races within the first 6 races of JRM's existence, and that was just really, really cool.
Can you talk to us a bit about your driving style? Some say you are pretty aggressive. You kind of have you give no shits, dog, on track, and that's really cool. We love to see it. That's right. It's the reason you are the most popular driver in Home Cup.
Yeah, it's very I just like using it. Our cars have fenders for a reason. This isn't a Formula One or Indy car where, if I bump someone, they'll fly away into the first row of the grandstands. I can actually grab someone and then back it into the wall and maybe get out fine. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, it's fun. It's why am I going to – if I can make a pass in 2 laps, why would I wait 50 or, 8 laps to do it? You know what I mean? It just get stuff done and get out to a big enough lead. So that if I make a mistake, I can just recover and have minimal damage to my lead or whatever. Now, it's also very fun to just bully people on track. It's just very fun.
I can't say you're the only one that would say that. So just give us a rundown on your career. You've 8 career Home Cup wins. That puts you, I think, 7th all time. And you're at the prime of your career. You were uncrowned season 5 champ. You started in Mercedes, you started Hendrick in the 24, jumped to Mercedes, got a couple wins in there, and then jumped to team ownership. How is that, from just becoming a driver to an owner, how does that, and just your career overall in general, can you tell us a bit more about that?
It's been fun so far. But I'm very proud of it. Being a team owner, especially being a driver and an owner, it just gives me something to do because I wouldn't want to just sit and be just a driver. I feel like I get bored of that very quickly. So it's nice to challenge myself with finding drivers for Hendrick and JRM, making the paint schemes for Hendrick and JRM, and also having to worry about my own season and my own team, the 25 crew, having to worry about my own career and stuff. So it's very fun. It keeps me busy because it's always a new challenge. Speaking of which, we have a lot of new partners coming on board, which you will see at a later date. New sponsors, new entities going to be working with us throughout the season, and it's always fun to have those types of little passion projects to keep myself entertained and busy. And plus, more cars equals more rides for the series and more people I can punt.
So I mean, that's great. I really appreciate it. That's the glory of Home Cup and what makes us so big. Vlad, anything you want to add?
Yeah, obviously me and Cory go way back. I don't exactly remember how you entered the series, but I remember you being in that Hendrick car and just seeing the way you raced. I think you won on one of your first races, and you could tell. What was it?
It was number 4. It was for Michigan. I remember vividly.
That's right. Yeah, and then I was like, we had some stuff going on with Gio, and unfortunately we had to take him out of the car. I believe this was season 3, and there wasn't a better driver for it than Cory out there, and I was fortunate enough to have him as one of my drivers for the longest time. And then obviously now you find yourself at JRM, and is something we spoke about earlier on this podcast. You probably are the flagship Chevrolet team, and that's such a jump because it's not something that you would have expected coming into the season. You would think, okay, obviously Hendrick's going to have their stuff together. You look at JTG with Kyle and how how consistent he's been there and how much of a good driver he's been there, but with your talent and recruiting Mike DRE and for him winning the 500, it's really cool. It's really impressive to see this new team develop, and I've had a lot of fun watching it. I like racing against you. I don't like it when you're in my rearview mirror a lot, but I do like racing against you, and it's awesome to have not only drivers like you, but personalities like you in the series. And, we're really excited for what the future holds for Home Cup.
So that's going to probably wrap it up. Any last remarks, Cory?
Can I get vulgar on here? Can I get explicit in nature?
I mean, I don't care. I mean, no, Vlad, is it cool?
All right.
Go ahead.
All right. First off, fuck SHR.
Shots fired.
You're going to get fined for that.
With them. Okay. Bro, I got big bucks. We won the 500 and no, I got checks to spend, bro. I got Ritz money coming in. Like, I got that Ritz money. Stop playing with me. I got the Visco on my back. What you talking about? SHR. Also, I'll afford. Vlad, you're cool because you're not one of them FRM or SHR boys that just be in that little circle. They can all go suck a fat one. Let's see, who else? Specifically the 10.
Whoa.
Wow.
I remember or heard over the radio that Sawyer was saying that I ran out of talent.
Wow.
Nola, and then I smoked him on a restart, went on to win the race, and then we did quadruple burnouts for Montgomery Brawl. So I would like to say ran out of talent. Where you're doing your thing in the points lead right now, but like it only matters if you can keep it all the way to the end of the season, and even then, I don't know if you can do that. That's just me. If you do it, I'll give you nothing because you ain't getting a dime out of me. You thought I was gonna make a bet? Skip it. But yeah, all is fair. This is no fun and games, but my beef with Ford is real though. Like that's not fake. Like Ford, yeah.
Well,
let me to wrap it up. Pontiac, Tesla, Dodge, then Ford.
Well, shots have been fired.
Wow,
thank you so much,
really
Cory,
unexpected.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cory, for joining us. There's a reason you're the most popular driver, and I think you just showed it. Thank you so much for this segment, and that's about wraps it up.
Dick Pod forever. Dick Pod forever.
All right, that was good. Thank you, Cory. Thank you for joining.
They give you some headlines, you know what I'm saying?
There you go, bro. No, yeah, beef indeed.
Wow,
that's good.
That was
good.
That was crazy.
That's personality.
While we're still rolling here, I didn't I didn't expect him to come in here and just attack everybody like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
We need.
We might have to get JJ Moore on here or somebody else, because that was wild.
We might have to. Let's see how this first episode.
Yeah, for sure. When is Bristol going? When is that race going to be? Is that going to be tomorrow, Jose? Is that going to be later on tonight? What is the timeline for Bristol? And we're going to get into our Bristol preview here shortly as well.
Bristol will line up tomorrow at 8 EST, 7 Central.
Okay. Yep.
We just found out our poll winner before this. Vlad Valasuki.
Yes, sir.
The guy sitting next to me got pulled. So Ford, looking strong.
I thought that we were able to put together a really fast car, racing under the lights. We're going to be in the white paint scheme for the second time this season, and hopefully we can have a little better luck than what we did at Phoenix. But yeah, that's going to end our driver segment, our guest segment, whatever you'd like to call it, and we will now get into our Bristol preview.
All right, and thanks, Cory, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Let's preview Bristol real quick. That's our next Home Cup race. Last year's winner, Felipe Ford, jumped in the 78 2 races prior and won. Quick fact, Chevy has never won here in the 5 races we've had here in Home Cup. It's been 4 Ford victories and 1 Toyota. Qualifying is today, 20 laps around the Greatest Coliseum. That pretty much wraps it up. I want to thank all the sponsors, the Dick Pod Podcast, Chicagoland Diecast, and Micah G Designs. Thank you to Vlad. None of this would happen without him. And this is Home Cup signing off. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.